Test of the voice. Test. Everything seems okay. Cool. We'll starting in 5 minutes. As always, I'm streaming to Twitch and YouTube, and later you can watch on YouTube. So there will be a recording automatically there just after the stream. The chat is turned on only on Twitch. Hi Ahmed. Kumar, hello. Welcome to the chat. During the stream, I will mainly answer questions only about the tasks. Hi Dami, Manish, welcome. To one thing. For minutes. This isn't the last stream of the year. Well, I mean, knowing me and my frequency of uploads and streams, maybe this should be the last stream of 2023, and we'll see each other in 1 year. A few hours ago, by the way, I noticed this blog post on Codeforces. A competition with $12,000 in prizes. That's a lot, but it was 10 days ago. So I'm not visiting Codeforces frequently enough. But also prizes are distributed a lot, and I think the first prize is like $1,000. So it's not that bad. If this was a competition with, $5,000 for the win, then maybe I would feel worse about missing that. Time travel. If you do virtual participation of something from 2022, maybe. Two minutes. I will copy a few files. I cannot copy at the same time to multiple files. I remember there was some way to do that in Bash, to copy a file into multiple ones, but I don't remember how to do it. Let's for now just open those 4, or just the first 3. It will be easier later to see what I'm working on. Title is Goodbye 2023. Oh, that's a bad year. Okay, fixing it. On YouTube it's also bad. Okay, fixed. "30 seconds. So starting soon. Wish me luck. This is virtual participation of the contest. It was 2.5 hours, so expect that to be duration of a stream. And I will try to perform well. Need to use it. Okay, I'm replacing numbers with b's. It can be the same number. Okay, I can get sum of top m numbers, so top n numbers in B. I can get sum of I think that and A combined. That's it, with one exception. I need to use at least one number from B, at least the last one. I will start reading, but I don't know the full solution yet. It's not allowed to only use numbers from A. It is allowed to use only numbers from B. So what I can use is top n minus 1 elements from A. And then for that last element, for the smallest, even if it's bigger, I need to replace it with what? I think the last element of B. The last element of B must be used. Oh, that's easy. So the sum will be the last element of B, then pop, sort, and take the first n minus 1. Seems okay. Oh, a lot of people already solved it by now. Second problem. First accepted. We need to minimize such values in a permutation. If k is equal to 1, then there is nothing there to decide. Answering this question, no, in the jth operation, you needed to use b of j. You couldn't use the same element multiple times. So I think you misread the statement. Okay, what do we have here? In every 3 consecutive elements, let's say k is 3. It doesn't hurt to put the biggest element, like n, at the beginning. And then I want next to it to be the smallest element. I won't be surprised if the answer is n plus 1, like always. So if you see maximum, you want the minimum to be small. So let's say in the first window we expect n to be there, 1 to be there. Everything in between doesn't matter too much. Actually, I will use the biggest numbers here. N minus 1, N minus 2, N minus 3, and eventually 1. Because the minimum is great. Then I keep moving, and here is a new strange situation. So I want, I think, N minus 4, N minus 5, N minus 6, and a 2. And I will go in cycles like that. The answer will not exceed N plus 1. Yep, that's what I will do. And for k equal to 1, it doesn't matter. For k equal to 2, this I think will work. Okay, cancel. I think I'm ignoring k. No, not really. So this will be the next small element, the next big element. And first I want to use n minus 1 small elements. Okay, if this happens, then I want to use the smallest element available. Else I want to use the highest element available. And that's it. What do you want? I'm compiling wrong? Oh, I see. I mistyped something when creating a file. Yes. 54132. I think this is good. C. I need to increase all numbers by x so they wouldn't have a common divisor. They are all up to 10 to 18th power. So I will look at every pair of numbers and something will certainly come from that. So you're looking at two numbers, let's call them a, b. You want a plus x and b plus x not to have common divisors. So let's think how GCD algorithm will work for them. Let's assume that a is smaller than b. Actually, yeah, strictly smaller. Can there be repetitions? There can be repetitions, but then the answer will be no. Should I just output yes? No, because there might be even numbers, and then we cannot avoid that. It seems that I think I need to check divisors up to n, and only there can be an issue. Because let's see, if we look at things modulo, I don't know, 120, then there is a way to shift numbers in such a way that nothing will be divisible by 120. So what we need to check is for every number up to n, so for every divisor, let's say, up to n. We need to check if all remainders modulo, and let's see. I think if there is a remainder with two values there, then after shifting they will be both divisible by that. So what I'm looking for is any smaller than 2. Smaller than 2. If there is anything smaller than 2, then it's good. That's bad. Why was no printed? Because first divisor to check is obviously 2, not 1. 1 shouldn't be considered. Well, that's bad. Are equal numbers an exception? Do I listen to music? No, not during a competition. So why is this an issue? And is that the only case? I wonder. Because what I figured out is that if there are numbers, let's say 11, 14, 12, 15, 13, 16, then modulo 3, I cannot do anything interesting here. So the answer is no. And I hope that the only other case is that there is a repetition. That's dangerous, but in an easy problem, when you get some idea, maybe it's okay. If not, one wrong submission penalty is not that bad. So wrong answer on 2 or accepted? I think that's accepted. If it passed second test. Okay. Cool. But the intuition told me that first we need to look at pairs of numbers. I wonder if that is useful in any way. Cool. Accepted. D. Isn't that name of some kind of PC manufacturer? I think I owned SSD made by this company. Oh, with an extra I key, I-O. We need to analyze for what triples of arrays we can win that game, meaning we can get this to a permutation. I think we can walk backwards easily. If the last number in one permutation, in one sequence is 5, then here 6, then here 8, and one person will be able to remove them, and we have a choice between the other two. Let's see. If we want to obtain a permutation from some numbers, then the last number will be fixed. Let's say it's 6. Then our opponent, who moves first? Okay, so first we want to remove one thing, and then the opponent will win. So our only chance for winning is this, is that 2 elements are equal. If 2 elements are equal, then we're good, and this will be what we choose. So there needs to be this, or A of I is equal C of I, or B of I is equal C of I. Otherwise we lose out immediately. And also, if we gather those elements that are equal, then this needs to create a permutation. Now we're given the first sequence, the second sequence, and if they already have 2 equal elements, then we know, and we need to fix this one, then there are n possibilities for that one. If this is 6 and this is 8, here we need to choose 6 or 8, and all of that needs to create a permutation. So what we get actually from the input is this. We get some numbers like number 1, number 3, numbers 5 or 3. That was 4, not 3. Numbers 2 or 3, and so on. From each pair we need to choose a number, and this needs to all create a permutation. I'm guessing that that's either a graph problem or something greedy. If any number appears only in one pair, we take it. Otherwise, we have a lot of cycles, I believe. And for every cycle, we have 2 ways. So this answer always should be the product of n's, if we can choose anything, and 2 at power the number of cycles. And we need to smartly detect when the answer is 0. Okay. And that was the logic for D. First, anywhere where we have repetitions, the answer should simply be multiplied by n, because we have that many possibilities. And we should remember what is this number. I will call it fixed. If fixed already includes this number, then print 0 and return. Otherwise, insert that. This will include numbers that we know already are there in a permutation. Now I need to go through this again and gather, not maybe go again, but get all the pairs. I need to smartly decide always if some number is just in one pair. Now, if there is a pair like 2 or 3, and 2 is only present in this pair, but also there is another pair like 3 or 5, I need to then know, yeah, 3 is only here. So I will certainly treat this as a graph. And what I think this will need to be some recursive function. I mean, I could do it with a queue. DFS. Will there be two separate phases? Maybe not. It's more like paths. Do I just need to count connected components? And when is the answer 0? For example, if something is not reachable at all. It will be easy here to miss something. This will mean that A is certain, but what do I mean by that? That we need to use A. So maybe use. We use A, and then for everything, if not yet used, then use. I'm not sure about that. So this should get rid of chains. Done. And then for everything, if not used, then I hope this is part of a cycle and I just use it. Well, that's stupid. I have a feeling that I'm overthinking this. Maybe not. Oh, and here cycles plus plus, so basically that. Now I think that if the answer is non-zero, then this should work. Nope. Oh, I see the confusion here. There should be that set because it's different. If there was a pair, if there was a fixed 2, fixed 3, and then there is a pair that says 2, 3, this I would say is bad. So should we already here say if used of x then 0? Okay, that's something. And I believe that the test that I'm detecting already a 0 looks like that. 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2. Because there is no way to guarantee a 3. n. Yep. And finally, I hope that the last thing missing is just to check if something wasn't used. No, of course no. Look at that. So maybe the answer is 0 because... Yeah, why is the answer 0? Because this has degree of 1 instead of 2, so this not necessarily is a set of cycles. I should check that this has 2 neighbors that are not yet visited, so a cycle. So strange. There were other edges, right? It can be a cycle with some extra edges going outside. But I now have a feeling that this is completely wrong. So possibly I saw something like that. And my recursive function, when we saw that we should use this, then actually it recursively used everything else. That doesn't make any sense. No, but it does make sense. If I trigger that because I say that 1 exists alone, then I'm triggering the use of 2. Now triggering the use of 2 means that in those pairs 3 and 5 are used. But also in this graph, something will become unvisited. So it should be enough to say this. If no, it's not enough because it doesn't solve the second test. I should, for every connected component, count the number of edges. I'm so much losing in this problem. It's such an easy problem for sure. Okay, if there is an edge like that and I need to use one or the other, then I am obviously using that. Then if there was something like this, then it's like saying 2 needs to be used itself. And no, if there are some other edges, then it will trigger them automatically. Cool, cool. Then, is there something bad about this shape, this graph? No, not yet. What is an issue? An issue is this: 1 or 2, which is not a cycle, and then 3, 4, 5, 6, 3, and that. There is an extra edge there. How do we prevent that? I can check if in every connected component there is a proper number of edges. And that's it. And then it wouldn't even require checking this. So count edges, count nodes, we'll use that, and there isn't anything special. We just always do this. Now number of nodes needs to be equal to twice the number of edges, because every edge has 2 endpoints. Otherwise, why did I remove previous stuff? I still need to know the answer. I just claimed that this will properly know 0 versus 1. Why so many zeros and ones? That's why. And all the zeros. 1 connected with 1. There should be degree of 2 there. 2 with 3, 2 with 3. That also should work. No, right. The other way around. No, this is correct. Yep, and we now want to get the answer. So do I get back to the previous code or what? I think that still I can here say that. And then what? Now we need to find nodes such that they do not contain that. Is self. This will keep information about that. I just want to get accepted and move on to the next problem. 6. Okay, fingers crossed. Hi, my friends are creating an open source game engine. No, I don't know. I'm not an expert in such stuff. Can anybody tell me the name of the terminal that comes on the top? If you're talking about that, that's called Gwake. Am I trying permutation cycle? I don't think so. Oof, cool. I usually don't close codes, but I want to close that one. Okay, now looking at the number of accepted submissions, this might be easy, but let's try the next one. Half an hour passed. 2 hours to go. Every edge is directed in a random direction, and we are given a tree. So the butterflies, I think, will move once. There are only 2 butterflies, so the choice of butterflies is fixed. Oh, because of that, okay. 4 cases of directing edges. Okay, got it. So they will move in that fixed order of edges given to us in the input. Let's see, we are given a tree. Maybe I will use letters. Letters are okay. There is a tree. Butterflies in some, and edges are numbered. Maybe like this is the first edge. And for this edge, we will choose a random direction, say this one. And the logic is, if there is a butterfly here, it will be moved up. There. Then there is another edge, maybe let's say this one. We choose a random direction, 50-50% probability. If there is a butterfly here, but let's say there wasn't any butterfly here, then maybe this is a third edge. And let's say it goes down. If it goes down, then there isn't any more butterfly here, even though it was there at the beginning. But what's maybe more interesting, if it goes up, then the butterfly from here would move up. I think it's a good idea to say that initially butterflies are lowercase characters, like this is H, this is G, this was A, and they move. What a beautiful G. Now maybe then there's a situation where G would move here. So butterflies can cover multiple edges. For a pair of random butterflies, I want to know the expected average distance between them at the end. And it might make sense to look at for every edge in the input to know what is the probability that one butterfly will be on one side and one will be on the other side. I initially know how many butterflies are here and how many are there. So the only thing that I want to know is what is the probability that this edge will goes that direction for sure, and only that I'm checking. I want to know the probability. Oops, OBS disconnected and reconnected. Is it okay? I think it's okay. But I will monitor it now. How long was the outage? Oops, I didn't want to pin that. My Discord server is the best, I hope so. So for every edge, just we need to count probability that this is used in this fixed direction. So at random moment of time, I want to know what is the probability that the butterfly is here. And either it's here from the beginning and how do we do it? How do we, for a vertex, compute the probability that a butterfly is there? This is task E, by the way. Every edge will be used only once, that's a good thing. But oh, but in fixed order. Yeah, what am I doing? In fixed order of edges. So should I just at any point monitor probabilities for everything to be somewhere? I think that nodes will have independent probabilities. So if I have one node, call it A, and another node here B, and I know that the probabilities for a butterfly to be here is 0.7 and here is 0.5, or let's say 0.6, then I can compute the new probability for butterfly to be here. That will be 0.6 plus 0.4, meaning otherwise, times 0.7 times 0.5. Right, so if an edge goes right, then that's the probability. I mean 0.6, no. So it's 0.5 times this plus 0.5 times. If an edge goes from right to left, for this to happen, I want a butterfly to be here, but also a butterfly to be at A, and those were so far independent. I've claimed that this is the probability. I will maintain that for every node, and then when an edge moves, I also know what is that. And I think I need to quickly know how many are on each side. Maybe I will use a segment tree. Which might be an overkill, but like if something moves now, like that, with some probability, well, whatever, it moved, but now I got updated probabilities. I only want to know that at the end. So at the end I have probabilities, and for every subtree, if I know the sum of probabilities for butterflies to be there, call it, I know, t, then everything else is n minus t. It's not independent. If it's not independent, can I multiply this? So for two things, if it's 0.5 and 0.5 for something to be there, I cannot really say that 0.25 is something like this can be disjoint. Imagine one butterfly starting here, butterfly, and it moves left with 50% probability. If I say that here there is 0.5 probability for a butterfly to be there, and here also 0.5, I cannot say that with 0.25 probability there is a butterfly in both positions. So how do I approach that? Can I use that if it's guaranteed that it's a different it's a different butterfly? Also not, because eventually butterflies become dependent. I could use that once, because so far before we used that edge, two parts of the tree were independent. Okay, another idea. Maybe when something moves, I can compute how everything changes. Yeah, that's the way to go. I know from the very beginning, how many butterflies exactly are here and there, not at the end, but at the beginning. And when something moves, with some probability, then I know that it got by one closer to everything here, and this is some kind of subtree size, versus everything here, and it got further away. So I will update it every step, and that's the solution. Okay, I think I solved it. If so, if I'm not mistaken, then I like the problem. No test cases here. I will get back to drawings maybe if I'm not certain about something. I will need a single DFS. Whenever I work with trees, there are so many arrays that I just create arrays instead of inconvenient vectors, assuming that there are no test cases. With test cases, it's more important to clear them. Read and probability of x is 1, also subtree of x is 1. I need to collect all those edges. Let's call that order. I need to know the initial sum of sizes, sum of the distances, which will be, oh, everything is computed modulo, so probability is also an integer. Would it hurt to do that on doubles? I guess so, because some probabilities become negligible. It's a pity that some problems become more ugly because of this instead of probabilities. I always, as a problem setter, first think if maybe doubles can be used. Like if they cannot be abused, then they make a problem nicer, more natural, easier to test as well. I mean, easier to see if your solution is close to working on a test. Okay, so we have that. After assuming that k is global, after we know the number of butterflies in the subtree, I can say distance plus equal or subtree of this thing times all the other butterflies. This is the number of pairs such that they go through this edge, possibly 0. This is the initial distance. Do we have a drawing? This is a drawing. Initially the distance should be 2 here. This doesn't exist or what? Is it a keyword? Then here's a beautiful hack. You can always define something so it wouldn't be a keyword. Don't use that in work. Distance is 2, that's correct. And distance is 8. At nodes 3, 4, 5, do we have a drawing? 1, 2, 3 plus 1, 2, 3 plus 2. Yes, 8. That's correct. Cool. Now, wait, I want to learn this. I want to learn and get used to automatically untying things. I think this is how you can iterate pairs. Order, right? Does this compile? Yep. And we will update probabilities according to those formulas. I think for every direction, no. How do I want to do it? I will remember those, first of all, because I want to apply both orders. The logic will be the same, both directions. Then swap and swap. Okay, and now let's say that we're considering probability of moving from A to B. Probability of that happening is simply that's probability that A is taken times B is not taken. That's 1 minus B. Okay, times half. Times half. Now that's a probability that there will be a move. So P of B increases by that much and decreases. I think I shouldn't zero them out. I should just say here now this gets increased and P of A gets decreased. And that should properly put probabilities. Let's see if at the end those values are reasonable. Is this 1/4 and this is half? Let's see. This has half, I agree with that. And then, no. Well, whatever, let me finish the solution. I don't want to analyze it, but it shouldn't be half, fourth, and fourth because it adds up to 1 and not to 2. With doubles, it would be easier to understand. Auto and A and B. But that, you didn't need that here because for pair is negligible in terms of size. Okay, and now if something moves, and that's the probability for that happening, the distance gets updated. If, let's say, subtree of A is greater than subtree of B, this means A is parent of B, and A moves into B. I want to say how much I should add to the score. Everything from this side, they get the distances increased by 1, and everything here the other way around. I think that's correct. This can be negative. And I will be very happy if this works first try, but I also doubt it. Well, that's not 2. TMP is usually 0. It makes sense that sometimes it's impossible to make a move. I agree that only those values can be non-zero. It's suspicious that distance didn't actually change. Oh, but diff is always 0. Diff shouldn't always be 0. I shouldn't include the vertex itself. Let's say if we... I need to include only the other nodes. If, let's say, this is the situation and something moves from here to there, I want to know the number of butterflies here minus 1 versus everything else. Okay, A is parent of B. This will be subtree of B minus 1. Wait, what am I doing? A moves down. And here we'll do that. Two, 6, 6, correct. 182, incorrect. Well, but it worked here. That's promising. It didn't work for the second test. How do I approach that? I need to have some tool to print probabilities instead of stupid values. How do I do that in OneNote? It's automatic if you're in full screen. After they updated OneNote a month ago, it just happens. Yes, I got eye surgery at some point, like a year ago. No, I will not do division-free contest. How can I test it? Well, I know how can I test it, but I have a counter test. It's big though. One, two. Do I need to really consider everything here? Okay, I will make a function that prints something as a fraction. Now this obviously doesn't work, but I can do that. Got 5.5. That's close. They say it should be 11/6 instead of 11/5. Not, I'm getting 11/2. Oh, so my value is way too big, isn't it? I need to divide by something. We are not looking for the sum of things, but the average one. So I need at the end to divide it by the number of ways to choose butterflies. So ways, that's k times k minus 1 divided by 2. I don't know why it's long. I want to, oh, I see, divide by that. How do I do it easily? I don't think there is a way. No. I thought that we can avoid implementing modular inverse. That's cool. I don't need to debug. And you see, I got that just by printing the proper value of the output. And I noticed that my score is 3 times too small or something like that. Oh, I don't have this function. I usually make a function for multiplying. I just thought that task is so easy that I don't need all those helper functions and I will do everything myself. Well, it hurts now. 296. Great. And 266. Cool. Submit. Why don't I write return 0? Because it's not necessary. In C++, it's only optional. Well, I didn't expect that. I did not. Overflow, maybe? I'm tempted to just generate a bigger test to check for overflows. What prints this? Oh, here. I want a generator anyway. That's not a generator I wanted. Wait a moment. Okay, this is better. I'm using testlib, the Codeforces polygon thing to generate tests always. Now, what do we have here? For now, let's just choose something big. Nope, it's not an overflow. Not an overflow. Now I will once read the code, and then I think I will just implement a brute force to check stuff. Those things are independent so far. Twice we repeat. PA is saved, and I don't modify it here. I swap them, but that's fine. That's not, no, that's okay. PA, PB automatically gets swapped, kind of. That's PA times probability that B is empty. So it's probability of moving times half. A is parent of B. Then for all of them we get closer. Shouldn't this be the other way around? No, for them we get further away, excluding A. Always -1 is here. Cool. For them we get closer. Now, otherwise, if A is child of B, for them we get further away, for those we get closer. Yep, that works. PV gets increased by that, and PA decreased. Pretty sure I made the exact same mistake in contest. Sometimes during a contest I also check the standings to see if people often get the mistake, and if so I'm looking for a logical issue, otherwise I look for a typo in my code. Kn is at least 2. So here nothing crazy should happen. It's easy to try. One, that's correct. Okay, then a brute force, I guess. I wonder how much time it takes me to write something like that. So I'm estimating that it's 4 minutes. Well, actually, it's not like it's a contest against somebody, so let's run stopwatch and I will check. That's brute.cpp. Oh, I need distances. No, that will take more time. Even if I'm implementing very similar code to what I had before, I'm doing this on purpose. I don't want copy-pasting, reading the input. P means that something is there. This time it's not probability, it's just the value. Edges. And now DFS with few parameters. And one thing I will copy paste, but of course this could be placed with a mistake, is the inverse. If stuff still doesn't work, then I will wonder. I mean, for an unlikely scenario where I don't find a counter test, I will suspect what I've just copied to be the issue. And something crazy. That shouldn't be it. I'm counting everything twice. That's something. That's not enough. Oh, and I need to compute divided by that, of course. Oh, really? Yeah. Okay, and what did I say? Divide by 2 because I'm counting both ways. So 5 minutes. It wasn't that bad. No, brute force will not work for such big data. No. It works for a random test with 3 butterflies, but also those tests I'm generating are very weak. Okay, this is a counter test. I have a mistake by 1. That's very low. That's too many. This input is too long. What am I doing here? Oh no, it's not too long. I just want to. Okay. Let's see. 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4. This is just a chain of length 4. And we're starting in the first 2. Butterflies are initially here and there. And we go from left to right. After B moves here, -1 should be subtracted where B was at the beginning, not right now. Or whenever I move something. Is that the issue? I think that it's funny to see such a test and then think of that. I think that -1 not necessarily is there. Well, that test doesn't seem to be about such an issue. No, that part is okay. That part is okay. So if first we have that, then here with probability 50%, B will be moved there. And then with probability 50%, B will move there. In my code, it's more like A always moving, but whatever. I don't understand what's wrong. Now let's, in the main code, print the answer. Answer is 0.75. Well, it should be bigger by 1, so it should be 1.75. I don't know. First, there is probability 0 both ways. Then some probability. Wait, here diff is 1. Shouldn't diff always be 1? How can we get something like that? This is value -3. Is it not? This doesn't properly check if one thing is parent of the other. This can be equal if nothing is between them and in other subtrees. That's not correct. Parent of B is equal A. Where is my DFS? Do I have DFS? I have. Done. Well, yeah, that was my mistake. That hurts. I mean, it hurts in terms of performance. A lot of time spent. Wait, print. If I already have a brute force, then I can test it. Yeah, works. If this was a real contest, then losing 20 minutes like that would hurt. Of course, in a virtual participation, that doesn't matter. Did they work in any fine company? No, I didn't. Recently, from time to time, a recruiter slash headhunter might reach to me. And recently it was like one day before or after Google announced firing 10,000 people. I find it funny. It makes sense business-wise, but still I find it funny that they fire people and recruit at the same time. That mistake cost me an in-contest F-solve. 20 minutes, might matter. Especially in a short contest. In ICPC, it wouldn't. Wait, wrong button. Okay, F. There were some quick solves of H, but now it's smoothed out, so I will just try F. But maybe I should read other problems as well. The sum is X. The bitwise OR is Y. The score is XOR. We need to find XOR of XORs of all elements of arrays where those two conditions are true. X is huge, N is huge, Y is small. I don't usually like such problems, but let's try. It was coming, they're decreasing wages. I guess. I heard that Google and Alphabet in general is a bloated company. Too many employees. Earlier somebody asked me about OneNote displaying the thing at the top. It sadly cannot display that in this half full screen setting. Okay. If we have some numbers, then let's analyze what will be the difference between their bitwise OR versus Y. Well, this thing doesn't matter that much. It just means there cannot be zeros. Maybe we'll need to run some kind of inclusion-exclusion principle. But for now, I will assume that let's ignore Y for now. Maybe it hurts, of course, but let's ignore Y. Let's just say that there is this first condition. And later I will assume that Y is all ones. Maybe that's also easier. But for now, say ignore Y condition. And we have this. Well, this at least gives us a limit for what a number is. Should I iterate every number? Maybe. Also, the XOR means that if there is some kind of parity, I can ignore it. And let's notice that if there is a solution with A1 different than A2, I can also swap them and that will cancel out. So I only need to consider cases where, let's say, A1 is equal to A2. Is that true? Zero to 3 is like 2, 0, 3. 0, 3, 2. Okay, let's only count for those where the first element is equals the second. 1, 1, 3. And then This is free. Oh, and this one as well. So 2 to 1 and 1 1 free. And the XOR of those two is 2. Similarly, I can say that I can ignore cases where A1 is equal A3, but that doesn't work further. I can say that A3 equals A4. And it has nothing to do with ignoring Y, obviously. Chat, can you tell me one thing? Is it actually annoying that we have those notifications in the chat of stream elements with thanks for the follows? When there is a new follower, the stream elements bot chat will say thanks or something like that. Is that actually annoying that it splits the conversation? Because now I wanted to find something and I realized that the answer in the chat, the previous message in the chat, I actually needed to scroll for that. New people follow you a lot. Maybe these few days because I'm back to streaming. I think I want some kind of voting on that. I don't want to show it on the screen. Yeah, you're right, but not a big deal. Should be on the stream, not in the chats. I see opinions on that are split. I don't want to show it on the screen, or do I? I will think about that later. No, we can say this as well. And that. And so on. If n is odd, maybe binary representation of n will matter. But also, shouldn't we say that this equals that? Yes, we can say that. I think that if n is, say, 11, then my claim is that it's enough to consider first 8 elements, then 2 equal elements, then 1 equal element. So the first 8 are equal. Otherwise, there is some kind of symmetry and we can consider them separately. Tiny pop-up message above your head is a decent solution. Is it possible to create notification for just the specific follower? I don't know, but that seems like cheating. Have a buffer for 5 minutes. That makes sense if I want to read all of them, but you know, the purpose is mainly to make things educational. I don't know. Well, I was going to anyway experiment with switching to YouTube. So maybe let's leave this decision for later. Bye, I am Ergy. No. We have only, what then, 40 elements, 40 variables, and there is something like this: 8 times x plus 2 times y plus z needs to be equal to, x is already something else. So there are variables, or I will rewrite that. It needs to be equal to the sum that we're given, that's this element. Obviously this just shifts in binary system a number, so summing should be easy still. Are there limits for numbers? Numbers are up to 2 to the power 20. I think that this is already a solution in time complexity y squared, if I'm not mistaken, or actually log of n times y squared, because we can do dp of which number we are doing right now from 0 to logarithm of n, because we have those groups, and we want to just know the bit mask so far, the or bit mask so far. That's the state. This will be the number of ways so far to do this, and the transition will be iterating the next element, like iterating what will be the next equal element, with a trivial transition in constant time. Stream is about streamer, not about random people who happen to click a follow button. But, you know, it's for those people who click the follow button. It's for the people who watch. Anyway, I have a relatively small interaction with new followers. I don't read those messages. I don't thank everybody, while some other people do it. Maybe mainly for subscribers who pay money. But I'm tempted now to turn this off. So if we want to speed up this DP, I think that either it will be something with inclusion-exclusion principle, or maybe understanding how easy those multiplications are. Will I make YouTube videos again? This weekend I'm recording Yusako screencasts, so that's something. But I also want to do just, you know, tutorials, maybe next week. What place do I have right now? It's ICPC system, so it's different than during a contest. 60th. Well, let's try to do F. Yeah, sure. Congrats, guys. How can you cheat and not solve everything? What a pity. Or shame, rather. I wonder if this number is special in any way. Not really. Wait, what am I doing? Of course this is wrong DP. We need also the sum of elements. What did I think? What did I do with x? Okay, so we are not close to solving this. This will be y squared times the sum, so extremely slow. I only changed n into log of n. Well, never mind then. I mean, with those multipliers, we can say that the last number needs to have a proper bit on the last position. So this can be, we can keep only the 20 bits, the most significant 20 bits, I think, because other bits need to be properly fixed already. But that would make sense if this was like 2 at power 10. Where can I find the previous live streams? On this channel, Ericto2, in live category. I wonder if we should go here from big elements or from small elements. The requirement for bitwise OR, it seems that maybe we shouldn't like iterate what will be the next element, but rather for every bit, whether we should take it or not. So let's not think about creating values. Let's say that what I decide for every number is every single bit. What I'm actually fixing, say that we are multiplying it by 8. And say that it's of length 5, because y is of length 5. Then 8 is 2 at power 3. If I'm adding 3 elements, each of length 5 in binary system, then I want the sum of them to be something. The sum of them, and this is something given to us in the input. And I'm choosing those bits. Also, there is a requirement that, for example, one of those bits needs to be 1. Or maybe they need to be all 0. And maybe this should be 0, because in that one of yellow question marks needs to be 1, and so on. Then each of them is independent, just it's not allowed that they are all 0. We can use inclusion exclusion, and then it will be actually like no requirement at all. So, but I will need to be fast about it. So let's say that there is something like that, and now every question mark can be literally anything. How do I solve this? Well, I go from right to left with dp and just fix every bit, and that's it. I will use at every column a binomial coefficient, but also I can use 1 bit per at a time. So this is 2 dimensions, so it's like row column, and I can know the bit mask or bit masks of things so far in index wise, like so what's the or of those and so on. And when I will do it column per column, like that. And when I'm doing a column, I need to know what those sum up to. So this is a sum, but this sum is only up to height, because this is just the sum in this column. So if I choose, let's say I'm in the second column, if I choose here 1 and here 1, the sum will be equal to 2. Once I'm done with a column, the sum modulo 2 needs to agree with the bit here, and then sum gets divided by 2 because that's a carry, and we move to the next column. I think that's it. What program is this? I'm solving in Codeforces round or competition Goodbye 2022. So it's this. Seems good. I think I will leave it on half the screen. NXY. Oh, I was still stress testing my solution. That's some waste of CPU. No test cases. No modulo either. Wait, and what do I keep here? The number of ways? Young Lex Friedman. I don't know if we are similar. Wait, so we're not counting the number of ways. We're computing the bitwise XOR. Is it correct here to just keep the XOR of all things? Does DP work like that? If it's 0, then whatever. If it's non-zero, and I see a way now to do something and to reach this new state. I think this should be okay. If not, then I can focus on every bit separately. Wait a second. If there are 8 equal elements, then all of them are equal and their XOR cancels out. So I actually only care about the last element. Well, that changes the situation. I can iterate that last element. No, I cannot because of that. For every last element, I need to know, assuming that n is odd. If n is even, then that's easy, like here. N is even, so the answer is 0. If n is odd, then for every last element, I wonder if there is an odd number of ways to solve the remaining puzzle, let's say. What do we keep here? Is it the number of ways? Is it just the last element or 0? I think it will be XOR, so basically the last element or 0. I hope so. Also, will this be fast enough if I have like 40? Row is 40. Column is 20 in every row, reasonably. So 20 times 40 times 2 at 20th times the sum, which is equal to the height, and that's 40. That's 40 squared multiplied by 20. times this. This is too slow. I need to get rid of one dimension, at least one dimension. Is it always 8 to 1 equal elements for n equals 11? I think so. My first observation was that the first two elements need to be equal to each other. Otherwise, I can as well swap them, and that will give me the same XOR, so that cancels out. This 0 I don't need to care about that much, but let's leave this. Maybe the sum is not that important. But I think it is. And eventually, like in this column, there might be 20 different question marks, so the sum can be up to 20, plus half of what we got from the previous one. So I think it can go up to 40 eventually. The height is 40. Length of every element is 20. So the actual height at every position will be just 20 for question marks. That's still at least 20 cubic. And time limit is very small. Forty minutes left. I would still approach the next problem if I solve this one quickly, but it would need to be like, I would need to start coding in a few minutes, I think. I cannot use binomial coefficients because then I will not modify the bit mask. What if I use inclusion-exclusion principle? Then this dimension gets removed, but there is an outside for loop of the same size, and then there are no conditions. So in every column we just know the number of question marks, so we don't need to iterate rows. But I will instead iterate how many question marks I want to change into ones in this column. So that doesn't make any sense. It's just moving dimensions, decreasing space complexity without changing time complexity. Height would be bounded by 20. But height is equal to logarithm of n. Height comes from the number of those entries. At every at every column, its height in terms of question marks, I think, is limited by 20, but the height of the grid is 40. Oh, after... No. We don't always need to keep the full bit mask or only those bits that we visited. And maybe often there won't be that many of them. In this column, which is 20 from the right, yes, that's the case indeed. But everywhere else it's smaller. Like, let's say here, in second column from the right, only 2 of those bits can be on. Or once we go here, once we go here, everything can be on, because we are done with that string, but wait. Oh yeah, we are done with those. Which means that the time complexity isn't that bad. So, well, still it's quadratic instead of cubic in terms of those. If we skip states that are impossible. If n has this bit on, then its multiplier will be 0. I mean, in the XOR, yes, but still it affects whether something is possible or not. Only the last element will affect the final XOR, but we need to know, I think, using other elements, if we can get some of values. So should I just implement that and hope that it's around 20 squared times 1 million and that it's fast enough? $400 million might work in 1 second. And most transitions will be very simple. But why is it 1 second? Why not 2? I mean, maybe to prevent some slower solutions passing, like cubic. Column I will move to a for loop. It will not be a dimension. Yes, the multipliers are for the sum. Basically, with this interpretation, I no longer have multipliers. I only should remember that only the last row affects XOR in any way. So this will be a for loop. Goes from right to left. Can I fit all of that in memory? This, I think, also should be a loop, and only that will be part of memory. Then the last for loop will be very fast. Also, I will have some maybe Boolean value to know if this bit mask was hit at all, or a range of sums. I think I need to start implementing this. There is n. There is the sum, target sum. I will call that with uppercase because those are, let's say, values from the input. Target sum, target or. Oh, that's too big. Let's just say sum and or. If n is even, then I can immediately say 0. And otherwise, how do I want to represent the grid? And will I put 0 here? I think so. Not really, because the pessimistic case has all the ones. I don't need to optimize for other cases. So I think as well I can treat this as a question mark. It's just that those 3 question marks, they are all like corresponding to the same position in bitmask or. What do columns represent? Columns represent bits of the sum. That doesn't help too much. And can I say that the XOR is int? I think so. What is this? Should I make this flexible maybe? I think it's up to 40. Also rows will be up to 40. I need binary representation of n. I think it's better to hard code 40. What was the limit? Yeah, I will just assume that there are zeros eventually. So height is 40. And width, well, for columns is this. No. For every position, possibly I will modify those 2 values, so I need to go like decreasingly, but I don't need to copy anything in memory, that's good. Or should I? No. Okay, so this is columns, then we have rows. Top to bottom, or doesn't matter? Doesn't matter. I think I will assume that there are also question marks here. It's just that they are multiplied by 0. Row equals 0 is the it's the one affecting XOR. So the one actually affecting this thing. This is special. Every other row will be more normal. And now we're looking in column 0, row, let's say 0. We're looking at this bit and we have 2 ways of fixing it. Also, sometimes this is not allowed because we are out of the bounds. but mostly we can do it. And then for every bit mask OR, decreasingly, and for every sum also decreasingly. What's the sum? Wait. I don't think that this should be 40. Well, it will be up to 20 plus half of the previous one. Okay, I think this is okay, but that's not simply equal to the height of this. I think it's more like twice this width. Anyway, from sum equal to h. Later I want to speed this up, because right now, well, we have one big for loop and 3 smaller for loops. In total, that's slow. Later I will in some way kind of decrease this to constant time amortized time complexity, and I will hope that 60 times 40, well, doesn't sound good. Some cells should be skipped, so sometimes there will be a continue here. To do sometimes continue. And then it will be maybe 40 times 20 or so. And this multiplied by 1 million will be 1 billion very simple operations, I hope. Yeah, I don't have a good feeling about this. Half an hour left. Now, we consider putting here a 1. If we do so, then dp of bit ORed with something, and sum plus 1 plus equal dp of bit OR sum. This new mask I can compute here. Is declaring variables inside of loops slow? No, it's not. Maybe it can sometimes make a 1% difference. But I think compiler is able to optimize that anyway. Now, this thing. It's the current column minus row. Which already we can compute here. And if it's smaller than 0, so if it's not in this range, then continue. Those will be positions like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I could also continue if this is not turned on, if this position is not turned on in that bitwise OR that we're targeting, but that shouldn't matter in the pessimistic case. Now I'm expecting that it's always like, yes, that sometimes we're skipping stuff. I can say that for every row there are at most 20 good positions, so 20 good sum bits, which means that this happens 20 times 40 times. It's not a perfect notation for time complexity, but it will do a job. And XOR. Also, if I just XOR zeros, I will not do a lot. Oh yeah, because row equals 0 is special. If I do this, then 1, so 2 to the power of position. Okay, now after I'm done with all the rows, so we are done with a single column, I need to move by 1 to the left, which means that the sum needs to agree. This will also affect the time complexity, let's not forget that. So later I think I need to avoid assigning new memory like that, or allocating. But for now, for every mask, for every sum, if modulo 2 is equal to what we expect, which is or shifted by some bit, then this is good, and new dp of mask sum divided by 2, this is a carry to the left. Do this. Don't allocate new memory, because that slows everything down. At the end, I think the answer is simply dp of mask. That's the or. So this is not or, this is sum, because we're going from right to left and every column corresponds to a bit in the sum of elements. dp of or sum equals 0, and it will be a miracle if this works. Also, it might be very slow because I'm actually ignoring the input in terms of the speed. How to easily speed this up? Well, I can just change this. 0. That shouldn't be 0. The disadvantage of trying to be fast and using constants is that it will be a pain to debug. And for the third sample test is 0 as well. Okay, 3 seconds here times the 7, so that's what, 20 seconds for the full test. That's what I would expect. Oh, and I was able to speed this up, I remember. Some masks didn't need to be considered. A lot of them. So then maybe it will be down to 1 second on my computer, and I also will avoid allocating memory, stuff like that. But first, let's make it work correctly. 20 minutes left. Two and 1. The sum needs to be 5 and something. If we don't get any output, yeah, that's bad. For the sum bit equal to 0, we should, for row equal to 0, do something. Position is 0, so that's fine. For every this. Also, that seems bad in terms of what we want to achieve. We wanted to get the XOR of all possibilities, and I don't know if this is 0. That formula is wrong. It's just wrong. But also, dp of 0, 0 should affect dp of 0, 1. And it's 0. Why is that? Let's say this is 0, this is 0, this is 0. That's true, so we don't continue. For every mask, including 0, this is, oh, I see, this is 1. Still not. It did high. So I want to know what is dp of new bit or. Why is it 0? Maybe it was already 1, thanks to something else. It was 1. Something else changed it from 0 to 1. And maybe it's because this doesn't make any sense. I think so. Okay, transition is wrong. Or definition of dp. This cannot be just XOR of possibilities. Maybe it can be a pair of that XOR with a Boolean value saying if it's even or not. And I will start by saying something like this: dp of 0, 0, like dot second is true. This will mean this state is possible. And if something is possible, I want to know the XOR of possibilities. Does that work? Or should I know the number of ways as well? Because if there are 4 ways, I think we need to know the parity of the number of ways. This will work as parity. For speed purposes, I'm tempted to do this. I will call it hack. Hack will mean that something has an odd number of ways. The answer is 2. That's correct. I don't think I fixed all the places where this happens. Let's also do this. Okay, now this thing. Or maybe this is fine. Okay, come on. If it works, meaning I get output of 64, then I need to not allocate new memory, and what I think is more important, this. So only do something if a mask is, if it makes sense. Zero. Well, so it doesn't work. Also for row equals 0, I will make this separately, so it would be slower, but for starting from row 1, this part will just be ignored, because I don't know if compiler will optimize it. Why am I passing the vector size using bit shift operator? If you mean this means 2 at power 20. So this as well. Binary shifting is a convenient way of computing power of 2. In the answer, I should ignore actually the hack. So if dp of or 0 and hack, that's one thing, but this doesn't explain 0 in the output. Is this correct? Seems so. Is the third test small enough to debug? No, not at all. What can I do then? I can implement a brute force. 8 minutes left. I think I need to anyway speed this up. If I want to solve it in 8 minutes, then I need to start. So let's do it. first. How do I avoid iterating? Avoid iterating if something is empty. Whenever something is empty. So, for the first few columns, when some bit is, let's say, 0, only the 0th bit of this can be on. So if some bit is small and those are the first few bits, and only those can be on. If bit or I can simply say, no, not continue. I can simply say here minimum of some bit 20. It's not significantly faster for the first 20. And then oh, this is bad. This actually is not a proper speedup. Damn it. Because for the first 40 columns, I still need to remember the 0th bit. Oh. Okay, if I hit here continue, is this faster? Well, so for the first 20 bits it is. Then it's not. That's why the first few iterations were slow. Okay, I don't need to look at this before speeding up that thing. Back here. This is 40, and indeed I need to get to the 40th column from the right to look at this bit, and only then I will be done with deciding the 0th bit of the bitwise OR. This is not looking good. 5 minutes. There is a surprisingly big number of viewers still. Usually when I solve difficult problems, it's not 180 but more like 100 viewers. Well, maybe it's Saturday evening, so in different time zones it's not, I don't know, work day or like that. About the sum. Sum doesn't help too much, does it? A lot of those values can be ignored, but that's not enough. I need to ignore most of them. We can also skip zeros. Oh, I'm skipping zeros. That was discontinue. For the last 20 columns, we can be faster. But the middle 20 columns, and there are 60 columns in total, right? Yeah. Four minutes, I think. Two minutes. Okay, I give up. I don't have a proper idea. That was Goodbye 2022. Is it so old that the blog isn't on the main page? I guess. By the way, I very much not appreciate the fact that Codeforces sometimes has those, I don't know how you can call them, anime girls, and because of that, let's say I cannot show codeforces.com websites during high school classes. That's annoying. I work with students in a school. I will not show them a page if I have no idea what kind of half-naked girl will be on the main page. Of course, not half-naked, but it's cringe. Okay, what's that? F. Sure, symmetry. Okay, inclusion, exclusion, but it only moves things instead of being a dimension and increasing space complexity. I still want to get the correct sum. But it will be simply 40 times 40, won't it be? What else do I have? Oh, but with a carry, no. So still, with inclusion exclusion, I can only do it in 40 cubic. Okay, what was that? This sounds like something bad in the internet culture. So they're saying that product of binomial coefficients modulo 2 will be this. And eventually it's a combinatorics problem. Okay. Then that last step was difficult. Let me read that. But I didn't think about using combinatorics in any smart way. What is happening? Why? What's that? Okay, we can get rid of the bitwise OR and we will just have a grid with zeros and ones. I mean zeros and question marks. But still we have conditions about the sum. Well, we don't need to think about the grid. But with inclusion exclusion, then we might exclude some places. Those will be zeros, not allowed. So how can I then use any combinatorics in general? So do they mean that I want to represent number n as the sum of like a split of values? Or do I want to use combinatorics for every column of my grid? What's going on? Was my recurrence correct, just slower? I think that my solution is correct. Well, the code didn't work for the third sample test, but I think it's just some mistake in code. Unless my transitions are just straight wrong. I don't know about that. Well, maybe I should read this. Okay, well, with binomial coefficients, we need to take into consideration that I only care about the parity of it. I didn't maybe use it enough in my logic. And they want to compute contribution of each bit to the answer independently. Fn. Wait, are they saying that everything needs to be equal? I don't understand that. Otherwise, the answer is total XOR of t such that number of good sequences such that A1 is t is odd. So only A1 matters? Okay, in my logic, the last A mattered, so that's correct. So I basically know that. Maybe I'm not looking at bits independently, but they are computed independently in my DP. Just it's every position of the value of XOR in my DP. I'm just doing it all at the same time. I agree with things so far. what is going on is that they do not split those 10 elements into groups of 8 and 2. They just have that there are 10 elements. And that's it. I think it seems that it was unnecessary to make this observation. We should think that there are 10 different elements. It seems. That's a pity. I made an unnecessary observation and it gave me a solution, just something too slow. Interesting. So what we should think is that for n equal to 11, there like a of 1 matters, a of 2 through 11 are like arbitrary, kind of. And now we're iterating bits of this thing, and we wonder how to split the remaining count. So there is x. If I know what is a of 1, let's say I do, then x minus a1 split into 10 numbers with those conditions on bits and the bitwise OR. And we wonder if this is even or odd. Even more, we can look at a particular bit of a1. But then we should include a1, I would say. So if we have that, well, then it will be too slow. But if we don't need to iterate a1, then with inclusion, exclusion, I have those forms like question mark 0, question mark 0. There are, let's say, n or n minus 1 numbers like that. Oh, I see, and one number looks like this. Those are n numbers. The first of them has a 1 in one special position. Everything else has question marks. And I need to know in close to constant time if there is an odd number of filling question marks so that the sum would be correct. And so far it's still, I would do that with dp that goes from right to left, but apparently we will do combinatorics. A modulo b is 2. Okay, on every position I will maybe move the drawing to the right. For every column, if I have n question marks, then n choose x, something like that, will be odd in very special cases. Actually, it requires x to be subset of n. And other than that, we have symmetry. So this is equal to 1, modulo 2, if and only if x is subset of n. So that's how many ones we can choose. So wait, do I just want n to be... No. But why do I care about the number of question marks? Shouldn't I just say that? Okay, x, I iterate x from 0. We imagine iterating n from 0 to n to know what will be the sum. But what will I do with that? That's part of the sum. So I can choose x being any subset of n in terms of bits, and then it will be added here to the sum. And I need to go to the left. Now I don't like this at all. It's some math that I don't understand. Okay, this sum doesn't help too much because it's still the sum of t's needs to be equal to x. Then consider this identity. M plus n modulo r. Okay, the identity is obvious from combinatorics, sure. What? Oh. If we sum up over t's, y modulo y choose t1 times y choose t2, this is equal to 2y choose x, where x was supposed to be the sum of ti's. That's indeed true from combinatorics, but I was very far away from considering something like this. So first we need to make transition to get this understanding already. That was a very difficult problem. So because of parity modulo 2, we can write the answer, and after doing inclusion exclusion, we can write the answer in this modified way. And that already is, like, I would say, a big step. And then separately, we notice that the product of binomial coefficients has a formula. And this identity isn't complicated, but I never thought about it when we have a long product. Well, now I will try to remember. And from there, I'm sure it's easy. Well, my solution was just, my idea was just very different. Here we go. The code is easy, but it doesn't matter too much, the fact that the code is easy. I don't want to just rewrite the final solution. I want to be able to derive that. Problems where you need to compute answer modulo 2, they can be very, very difficult. Okay, but isn't there one column that is special? Because we have, where is that? Here. Isn't it the case that normally we have n elements, but in one column we have n minus 1? I think that's what they're doing here. Oh yeah, so the remaining sum is this, and it needs to y prime minus that. Brain overload. Yep. I mean, most of the stuff here compiles in my head, but still it's not. Well, one thing is that it's not clear to me what happened at the end, but I'm sure that can be done. But also, I don't understand like why this problem wasn't on a more difficult slot. Because people did solve it. F. Yeah, so on my level, I should have been able to solve it. I see that there are many strong people who didn't. So I'm also on level of those people. But I'm high red, so my place should be around here. Maybe well, my rating used to be high red, now I'm not really participating much in Codeforces. Swistak is good in math, he also didn't solve it. Maybe I shouldn't feel that bad. For me, this solution, even though the count is crazy short, this solution suggests that it should be at least G slot. In particular, what was E? Yeah, so E was trivial compared to F. Unless maybe there is another solution. Can I get here link to the announcement? No, so let's again do this. Goodbye. And F. Every problem in Codeforces, by the way, should have a separate discussion. It's so difficult to find something. I'm trying to find red people talking about F. F may be my favorite problem of the year. Well, I don't like it because I got an incorrect idea. I think that what I got is a slightly too slow idea, and I thought I'm going into the right direction, but maybe it's impossible to speed this up. So I'm biased here. I'm surprised by how difficult it is. I don't see anybody talking about a solution for F. Yeah, and Codeforces really should implement separate discussion for every problem. Otherwise, there is now announcement, editorial, and yeah, actually, I can scroll also here. Stupid system. Still better than anything else out there. And obviously, my heuristic is to only read red comments, or maybe yellow. What is this crazy identity? 1 plus x raised to some power is equal to 1 plus x to that power? What? Modulo 2? Or not? Well, if not, then does it make any sense? Okay, modulo 2 I agree. Okay, just so easily too few times I tried to do things modulo 2. and there are a lot of explanations. I think after 3 hours of streaming, I'm now too tired to effectively understand that. I will try to absolve this and understand it. I don't know if outside of a stream or during a stream like tomorrow. We'll see, but I'm giving up now. The problem is, I'm sure, nice. Just, I don't want to tackle it now. My performance is dream. I mean, all is relative, right? Everybody will keep comparing themselves to. I will compare my performance with my performance from, let's say, a year ago or from 2018. This is when I was really good. Like, I could fight for winning competitions. But that's enough for today. What are the things related to stream that I wanted to do? Oh yeah, so I will think about disabling chat pop-ups about people following. I still need to experiment with maybe doing a stream only to YouTube, but whatever. One other thing is that when I stream to 2 websites, like last time this happened, last stream it happened that the stream got like broken after 5 seconds, a new one opened, it had a bad title. Because of that also it doesn't have a thumbnail, but that's fine. So those two are both live streams. Just this one was okay technically, and this one had issues. So it got like restarted. I wonder what should be the proper setup there. And I'm still double streaming because it's not more difficult than streaming to Twitch, recording it and uploading to YouTube later. Plus, with the current setup, people can watch it on YouTube if they prefer to. Contests after college. There are plenty of open contests like Google Code Jam. But if you don't know those contests, you shouldn't worry about them and just focus on, practicing. Let's say on Codeforces, CSES, CodeChef, AdCoder. This is a good educational platform. Cool. Thank you everybody for watching. I think we will see each other tomorrow, but I'm not sure yet. I have some conflict of times, so I would actually happily participate in this round live, and just after the round I would go live with a stream. But during this contest for like 2 hours I'm busy. Maybe I will do a virtual participation just after this thing ends. But I considered that last week and then realized that just after the round it will be impossible to submit anything. So maybe some combination. Like is it possible to register out of the contest? Not really, because it's Division 1. Yeah. So I cannot participate officially or unofficially, so I will not be able to submit anything. That's a pity. Actually, this is a situation where without a separate account, it's impossible to make a submission during a contest if I don't have a full 3 hours. That's some advantage of AdCoder. AdCoder allows you to register out of the contest. When LeetCode streams, not this month, or maybe not within a month, I think. Okay. One last thing is, wait, where is that? So that's not fully prepared. What do I want to show? No, I don't want to show that. Never mind. But if you work in a company and you want, if you're interested in corporate workshops, which means your company hiring me, not as an employee, but paying me for doing workshops for you, for your employees or interns, you can reach out to me. I work with companies and I do workshops and lectures for them online. If you're interested in that, hit me with an email. I wrote down some stuff about it, so I will soon have a website up with where you can contact me with some information about it. I'm not teaching at university. Sometimes I'm going to Barcelona to Harbor Space, but that's it. I teach in a high school for half a year more.